Welcome to the first. You have a story. If you look back on your life, you've done things for the first time that no one in your family, in your town, in the country has done. This is Dr. Sandi. You have unknowingly paved the way for others without knowing it or even acknowledging it. This is where you tell your story so that those who come after you can walk in your footsteps to build their own firsts. Hey everybody, Molly Creese is a shy, talented woman who grew up singing in her parents' church in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Both her parents were pastors and they wanted her to become a gospel singer. Any other kind of singing was not accepted. Now she sings a different song of self-confidence. Molly was the first in her family to come to New York to attend school and got her bachelor's and master's degrees. Like most people, Molly was heads down working hard towards graduation. When Molly started to look for work, she realized that she did not use college to form alliances. She was too busy with schoolwork, and no one told her to foster those relationships because she would need them later. She was introduced to networking through the National MBA Conference. Now her company, Network Services LLC, provides coaching, workshops, and events to women business owners, using networking as a means to meet other business owners with whom they can potentially do business. Let's hear how Molly did it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey everybody, today I'm speaking to Molly Creese. I had the pleasure of being on Molly's podcast, and I also will be doing a panel discussion with Molly. So it's great to have you, Molly.
It's great to be here, Sandy. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So, a little bit about Molly. Molly is from a small island in the Caribbean called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I came to the United States in 2004 to pursue my education. And Molly is I'm also the second of six kids. My mom had six kids, four girls and two boys.
Nice.
And I'm also a PK, what you would call a pastor's kid. Both of my parents are pastors,
Wow.
fully functioning in churches and all of that stuff. So I grew up in the church. I
What do you call
graduated
a pastor's wife? Oh, first lady. I'm
first lady.
that I am. So I totally get it.
Right, right. So I've always been told that I'm supposed to be a first lady, but that's a different story. Um, but so I came to the United States, went to Monroe College for my bachelor's. I went to LIU for my master's in business administration with a minor in finance, and so started working in the financial industry. And now I am an accounts manager for a footwear company called Jessica Footwear. And I'm also the CEO and founder of Network Services, which is a company focused on helping women quantum leap in their careers and businesses and using networking as a tool to help them do that. So that's a little bit about me.
What made you start We Network?
So I started We Network Services because coming out of college and looking back, I realized that I did not do any networking at all. And I
Right.
went to
Yes.
college and I just came out with my degree and I expected that that degree would land me the job of my dreams and what I wanted to do. And when that didn't happen, I start blaming the college. I start getting down about it. I'm like, why did I do this degree? Why did I spend all this money and all that stuff? And it's not until when I was doing my graduate degree at LIU and I joined the organization, the National Black MBA organization, and I start getting involved and start networking with people that I realized what a huge mistake I had made not really fostering those relationships before. And so start when I start mingling and going to events and going to conferences and stuff like that, that is when I realized that other people, not just other people, but people within our community and who also would have come from the Caribbean who has not heard a lick or word about networking
Networking.
or know what that it is about, I
Yes.
realized that they were having the same problem and needed some guidance. So I was like, I'm going to step into that role and try to give guidance to people because I've gone through that experience and made those mistakes before.
That's so interesting that you said that. You put a different perspective on it because I never thought about it about people coming from a different country coming here and not knowing what networking is, because that's always been a part of everything. I guess when you go to school here from you're young and you come up, you just already form these alliances that you don't even think about, right?
Hmm.
But you've left your entire network behind and you've come to this country and you don't think about forming new ones. You're just so focused on your work, on your education. And then it's like, why isn't this piece of paper working? That's what I
Yes,
you say. Like,
yes.
this was supposed to be the gold that I came to this country for. So that is so interesting and put a different spin and perspective on networking. So what organizations did you join in your graduate study that gave you that aha moment?
So the National Association of Black Accountants, uh, I think my aha moment started there because I started going to, they would have student conferences. And
Uh,
those were big conferences where you would travel to other states throughout the United States and you would see people from all over the world and also the United States coming together trying to sell themselves, trying to meet these employers and say, this is why I am the best candidate. This is why you should hire me. And it
so
was like,
these were job fairs.
yes, but they call them conferences because it was not just the fair. There were workshops and seminars and different things in it. And it was a real culture shock for me. I was like, I've never seen, first of all, I've never seen so many black people
Black
in
people,
one place. And then they were all black people with degrees and all of this stuff coming from different schools. And I'm this little girl from the Caribbean who just happens to be there.
someone else is saying the same thing, right?
Yes. And so I was like, oh my God, I have to talk to all these people. I got to start getting to know all these people and all that stuff. So I think that is where my aha moment really started.
Are you an introvert?
I I am. I am.
Well,
I've
I am too.
I've tried to work my way out of that, but I've always been a shy person. I've always been someone that would be in the background and look on first before I take a step forward.
Well, an introvert to me means I need time to absorb things and I need quiet time to really think through things before I react. I don't
Yeah.
always react immediately, but I find in this world, you have to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
Even if it's not your natural fit, you have to learn how to be out there. And especially if you have a business, you can't completely be an introvert and not go out to look for sales or speak to your customers. I never had that problem, but it's until I took a Myers-Briggs test. Have you taken those personality tests?
Hmm.
That's when I realized, oh my goodness, everyone thinks I'm so extroverted, but I'm really an introvert that absorbs information and processes it. So
Yeah.
that's much harder when you're networking. If you realize I'm an introvert, you'll see people standing in a corner They'll walk into a room, they speak to no one, they're standing there terrified because they're an introvert and they don't know how to make an introduction to people. I usually go over to those people first.
And so that's the reason why I did Network Services, because I saw a lot of those people. I've been one of those people, and it's terrifying.
I usually go over and just kind of say hello and make them feel welcome. Sometimes they latch on to you for the rest of the night because you're the first friendly face. But that is great. So how long have you had We Networks?
So I started it in 2018, just testing it out, but officially did paperwork and everything in 2019. And so, yeah, 2019 is officially when We Network Services was born.
Well, congratulations. I look forward to participating on We Networks. So,
Thank
Mom,
you.
what is your first? What do you consider to be the first that you've done, that whether it's in your family, whether it's in your friends, or you just consider knowing that you're the first at doing that?
So funny enough, I have two firsts, but I would say the first one would be I I was the first one in my family to be looked at as talented in the area of singing. Growing up in the church, I
To sing
sang.
now, right?
Huh?
You know you're going to have to sing something now.
No, 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 no. I'm not singing. I'm not singing today. No, I am not going to sing, but I will tell you the story. So growing up in the church, we all as siblings had talents, but not discovered. And I think I was the first one to be discovered because the pastor at the time had called me up in front of the church to pray. I think I was just about 5 years old. And then he was like, "You want to sing us a song?" And then I started singing, and everyone was so surprised.
What
And
song
that
did you sing?
I think I started singing "Amazing Grace." Right.
Oh, so nice.
And everyone was so surprised, and from there on I was like the singer. Every time they would call me to sing. And so then when my mom became the pastor, I was the youth ministry leader, leading the youth singing group. I was the worship leader, leading worship in church and stuff like that. If we had crusades or was going out anywhere, I was the person that would be
Nice.
called upon to sing. And so it was amazing, but it was pressure at the same time.
Was it terrifying for you as a kid to be doing that, or did you enjoy it?
As a kid, I enjoyed it, but as I grew older, I became terrified. I don't know why.
I think you're more aware of people, of just
Ex-
people watching you.
Exactly, exactly.
So, Molly, being the first singer in your family, what became of that?
So I sang a lot. I remember singing in front of the prime minister. Um, that was
Oh, you have to sing something.
that was amazing. That was an experience. I remember traveling to other countries to sing. That would
Oh,
be
no,
if my pastor was going somewhere to preach, he would want me to tag along to sing just before he ministered the word. So yeah, it was exciting and
I
terrifying at the
invite you
same
to
time.
church. I have to invite you to our church. We're just rebuilding our church because pretty much after COVID, people moved away. A lot of
Yeah.
the people are gone. So we're rebuilding and we're just thinking of doing a concert. couple people are starting to do in-person
Mhm.
concerts with vaccinated people, or
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing something like that. You're going to be added to my list. You got to send me a video.
Funny enough, my father likes when I sing, and especially when I lead worship, because it's like an out of body experience.
Yes.
And then they telling me I did all these things that I'm not sure I did them, but when they show them to me, I'm like, really, I really did that. So it's like a totally different experience when you're doing that. That it's not explainable. It's just the
Yes.
awesomeness of the presence of
Yes.
God when you're doing that. So
That is so true. I'm supposed to be the praise and worship person, Molly, but I lie. I can't sing a lick. I mean, I can probably hold a note on key sometimes, but I tend to use a lot of videos to make it to create the mood.
yeah.
Sometimes it's upbeat like the Kirk Franklins, or sometimes it's just very quiet like a CC Winan quiet,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
just bringing that feeling in. So I find
Yeah.
videos does it for me. I'm just not the big singer that you are, but we'll take that. So that's really cool. Why didn't you follow a recording career?
Because so this is the thing. Growing up in the Caribbean, those careers are not looked at as careers. And so even though I was singing in the church and all these places, my talent was not necessarily nurtured in that way, because I don't think my parents had the understanding of where that can go. And
Um,
also those opportunities were not in St. Vincent. And so that is why, because I believe if that was nurtured, I probably could have been a gospel singer of some point, of some sort.
right.
But that was not nurtured. What was knocked into our head is that you got to go to school, you got to get an education, either become a doctor, a lawyer, or what have you. But having a singing career and those things, dancing or whatever.
That's an interesting spin too, because I was going to ask you, were you celebrated? Yes, you were celebrated as a singer, but but only for the church,
Yes,
not for yourself, and not for taking it bigger and bigger. They put you in a little box, and you stayed in that little box
exactly.
instead of saying, this is a talent, this is a skill. This should be heard by the world, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really what should happen. You should be heard by everyone. So, you never thought that the church would kind of hold you back in that sense.
No, but I look at it from this way too. It's kind of our culture in a little bit and how we are raised in a little bit. It's times are now pushing forward, but
Mhm.
before, when you look at it in the Caribbean and all those kind of stuff, those kind of things were not necessarily really celebrated. They were celebrated and in the sense that you would do them at home, but not celebrated on a big scale where you can see yourself doing this to make a career or a life out of it.
But
So,
I remember there were some big singers when I was little, and they usually come on the TV shows like the Billy Graham TV shows, or just the people who were large ministers, huge ministers at the time,
mhm,
and they always had singers coming out, and I enjoyed that part of the service. So
mhm.
I would have loved if you had aspired or had be encouraged to be one of those. I could have said I knew her when, or we probably would never have met.
Probably, probably.
So do you consider starting that, doing that now? Is that something you would pick up and start?
Uh, I don't know. It's I know people say it's never too late,
It's
but
never too late.
but I haven't really thought about it that much, no.
I think as part of your We Networks, you should sing in the opening. You should have a song of the day that you sing. In my coaching, I have songs of the week, right?
Hmm.
And I'll give someone a song to evoke something that they should be thinking about for that week. And it could be gospel, or it could be, unfortunately, I've given R. Kelly music sometimes because some of them are very inspirational, but to set a mood for that week to let you think. I believe you should have that kind of thing and sing it in the beginning of your podcast or your networking.
Uh, I'll think about it. I think about it. I've
That
done
would definitely differentiate you and make you memorable.
I've done a few lives where I've sang on them, but yeah, I'll think about
All
it.
right. All right. So that was one of your firsts. Have you have you encouraged other people to sing, like the younger people, or you just left the singing world alone?
I have when I was the youth president. I have came to United States. I was going to a church in Brooklyn called Evangel Temple. I did encourage the youth there to sing as well as dance, because me and my three sisters, we used to do praise and worship dance as well. So that was something that we were into as well. And even ministering to young people, and putting on shows and skits and stuff like that, that is always something that comes to the forefront if I'm doing anything like that.
I would love to have you become part of my congregation for sure. That's a skill set that I would love to have.
But you're in Brooklyn, I'm in Jersey City.
Car will drive. You don't drive?
Not yet. Not
Uh,
yet. I'm
okay. Well,
I'm studying.
we
I'm
have a lot
studying.
of
I'm
work to
studying right now for the exam.
do. Okay. All right. Well, once you get your car, it won't seem so far to you.
You're right.
Brooklyn is just through the tunnel from Jersey City. Even though my church is in Long Island, but Brooklyn, I would grab you anytime and take you. So we got work to do. Yes. So what was your other first? You said you had two firsts.
Oh, well, I know this is mentioned a lot, but I was indeed the first one to go to college. I was indeed the first one to pursue higher education, to travel, to do a bachelor's degree. So,
Okay. And what does the rest of your family do? Why they didn't pursue that?
well, my sister was my eldest sister. She was already in the United States. She didn't go to college. She did go to high school and stuff like that, but right after that, I think some circumstances, and then she came to the United States. So she didn't go. So I was the second one
Um,
in the children in line. So
okay.
I just happened to go, and then just happened to be the first one to go.
Is it something you wanted to do, or were you encouraged to do that?
It was not something I wanted to do. It was not something I was thinking about. It fell in my lap one day, because I remember I was working at university back home, in the office, and it's an opportunity that fell into my lap because of a situation that happened in my personal life.
Okay.
So I was just coming out of a breakup, feeling down, didn't feel like I want to be in the vicinity of the person, did not want to be in the country entirely anymore. And so and so this fell into my lap and I was like, well, it might as well I just go and study. And that is what happened. That is what I did.
Okay. So it was a getaway. It was an escape for you.
It was
Rather
definitely
than,
an escape.
that's bad when you've got to leave the whole country.
Yes, it was bad. Yes.
How did you utilize that? Having to be here, to be the first one to be here and to go to college, how have you utilized that skill set?
Well, even though it was not something that was in the cards for me, I remember growing up and I was someone who always wanted to watch the news and listen to the news, and I would always watch the stock market, and that was something that was fascinating to me. And so, in my mind, I was like, if I was to ever do anything, I would want to do business. I would want to pursue finance. So when the opportunity fell into my lap, I jumped at it, and that was what my goal was. Is that when I get here, I would make the most of it. I would study business, and I would really try to be the best at that. And so that's what I did.
So did you work in finance? Are you working in finance?
I did work in finance for a little bit. Amidst the challenges when I came out of undergrad school and not being able to find that job you want right away. But I did intern at UBS Financial at the time when I was doing my undergrad. And then after that, I've worked at a few other places like Columbia University and some other places.
No, I think that's pretty common when people come out of school and they decide, okay, I want to be XYZ. It could be a doctor, it could be, anything. In my case, it was an actress. I was going to set Broadway on fire, but I didn't graduate with an acting degree. I did go to theater. I was a theater major, theater and dance major. But somewhere in my second year, I realized there's a lot of work, and it wasn't so much the work, but the fact that all my friends were waitresses, because you have to take these jobs that you're available to go on auditions. And I'm like, I can't live in New York and survive on that. I need a real job. So I switched my major. But I find I would love to do a poll of people who graduated with a certain degree and are still in that field later in life.
Probably not many.
Yeah, because you kind of take the jobs you could get, and then
Yes.
that puts you onto a different path a lot of times.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely. It
you have to be
definitely did.
really focused and steady to go back to what you were doing, except for people who want to be doctors and lawyers. They kind of have to stay on that
Yeah.
straight and narrow. So, do you coach as part of We Networks? I would suppose, do you coach or mentor young people?
Yes, I've been a mentor for more than 10 years. So that is a gift that I did not know I had. Although I was operating in the space of doing that already, I did not know that that is what I was doing. So I was always doing that in the church, always mentoring the young people and all of that stuff. Fast forward and came up here to the United States. Joining the National Black MBA really put that to the forefront for me because I started mentoring high school students and then became the director of the program to run that mentoring program. And now, full front, I'm still mentoring not just high school students, but college graduates and
Wow.
young professionals. and also now in the space of we network services, where I'm seen as someone who where I'm in the space of women, where women can talk to, where we can support each other and collaborate and all of that stuff. So I think I've been mentoring and coaching all my life, and now I'm just using it as for business, as so to speak.
Well, I think encouraging young people can only be positive because they're the future.
Yeah.
And particularly if you encourage them to go out there and network, that's a big plus, especially coming out of college, coming out of high school. You still have to network to get into a good college.
Yes.
And I don't think people realize that. When you come out of college, you already have people that you've talked to, unless they came someplace else and are very inclusive. But usually you have bonded with a couple of people in school that you know. But in high school, you're going to a completely different world in college. And you have to start the networking early at some point, because then the college experience won't be what you think it would be. It could be very lonely to some kids.
Yes. It definitely can. Or you can find yourself in a situation where you're among the wrong company, and you get into the wrong
Yes.
stuff if you don't have a plan, and if you're not grounded in what you really want and who you should associate yourself and network with. So
And, on tangential to that, I would say the graduation rate for people who are networked is probably higher. I don't have any statistics on that, but because they're doing all the things that their colleagues are doing to kind of push them forward to graduation. If you're an introvert and you sit there and you don't have that social aspect of it, if you feel like dropping out of school, there's no one really to encourage you
exactly.
to continue on that path.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you're doing that. I do mentoring myself too, all the time, especially at the middle school and high school level. They're not in Jersey City, but in Newark, because my
Yeah.
office used to be in Newark. So
Starting early is definitely important. Starting
yes.
early.
And I mentor them particularly on entrepreneurship, how to start their own businesses. So we'll do little things like, forming a t-shirt company, or they come up with ideas of things. So usual cooking, kids are good at cooking, baking, and they'll start those kind of things. One gentleman I had, young man, I should say, he started a beehive company that makes
Wow.
honey in Newark. Was amazing. But I really like that back and forth with young people. So what do you enjoy about all these firsts that you have? How do you celebrate yourself?
That is a good question. So I never really celebrated my first, because probably why didn't I probably didn't look at it as significant, just going through life as something that you need to do and something that you have to do. So the celebration aspect of it was not really necessarily important. I don't think I was celebratory until it was graduation day, and I was celebrating with my family that I graduated from college or whatever. So before that, it was not really a need to celebrate. I think now, the space at now where I'm in my life, I'm learning that when you accomplish things and when you do things, it's good to celebrate yourself. It's good to say to yourself, I did that. And it,
Yes.
it took me a long time to get there, because I was that person who would not want to seem like someone that was puffed up or arrogant or wanting to say, oh, these are my accolades, these are the stuff that I did or whatever. I didn't want it to seem as if I was coming off of that I'm all that in a bag of chips.
But
So
you are.
I
But you
was
are.
I was someone who would not be that person who would be, oh, celebrating like that. But now in this space that I'm in now, I'm realizing that that is something that you have to do. Because if you don't do that, then that can chip away at your confidence and stuff like that
Yes.
if you don't realize your worth and what you're doing. So yeah, but initially in those times, it was not in my mind to celebrate like that.
I always celebrate my birthday. I mean, it's just a small thing,
Uh-huh.
but it's celebrating you, or rather celebrating me. Whether other people want to participate or not is up to them. But I tried to do something on my birthday. It could go to a movie. It could be something for myself, like take a massage, uh, get my hair done if I hadn't done it in a while. Just little things to say, hey, today is the day that I came on this earth, and I want to remember each and every one. And guess what? I'm here another year, right? Which some people are not. So let me just
Mhm.
take that and run with it and do something to celebrate. Sometimes celebration is staying home and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because if you're moving all the time and doing things all the time, you just want to be still. That just be still and let God just be still. Take some time to just lay in your bed and watch movie or something. But it's recognizing that it's your day.
Mhm.
And do you do anything like that?
It's so funny you talk about the birthdays because growing up, I remember we didn't celebrate birthdays that much. And I don't know if it's because it was so many of us and my dad was the only one working and stuff.
But was it a
Um,
cultural thing? Did other people celebrate birthdays? Like, did you go to birthday parties or?
I don't think so either. I think I in my childhood I probably went to one birthday party, if so much. So it probably was a cultural thing. I remember us getting building blocks, and we would all share the building blocks. So I
It
didn't
wasn't
have
your building blocks, it was the community. So,
yeah, yeah. So I didn't have birthday parties. I didn't have sweet 16s and all these different kind of things. I remember having my parents tell me happy birthday and stuff like that, but it wasn't really a big celebration where every birthday you would be looking forward to it because there was
right,
going to be a celebration. It was nothing like that. And I think that poured over into my adulthood because sometimes my birthday would come around and I would be like, just another day. It's my birthday, whatever. But I think when I turned 40 was when I really said, okay, I need to start celebrating my birthday because I've got the hair. It's a milestone and I need to
yes,
celebrate.
yes, I agree with that. My birthday celebrations are legendary now. They are. I have a conference almost for women on my birthday for my friends, and they get homework. It's coming up, and I already started getting the phone calls like, what are you doing for your birthday? What are you doing for your birthday?
Oh,
And this
wow.
year, this year's a milestone one, so I'm not. It's been taken out of my hands. I understand the birthday celebration, so I'll look forward to that to see what it is. But I think I'll still have my all girls get together because there are a lot of topics. I'll be 60 this year, and there are a lot of topics that I want to discuss at this stage in my life. And my latest passion is caregiving.
Yeah.
because this is where around the time that it starts, whether you're taking care of your parents or taking care of your spouse or taking care of your kids, but you're that sandwich generation where caregiving becomes really important. So I'm going to try to do a little conference about that on caregiving, and we'll see how it goes.
It sounds good.
All right. So anything else you'd like to share with our audience on your first, both your singing as well as your networking and graduation?
I don't know. I think I've given my first. I've told you all about my first. I think that's it for the
Well,
first.
one question I ask, does it make you bolder now that you came to this country? That was a first, right?
That
You
was the first.
you now did your college thing, you've started this networking thing, which was the first for you. Does this make you bolder or nervous when you have to start something else new for the first time?
I say both, uh, because I've been in that space for so long. I think daily I have to remind myself that uh, this is what I'm doing and this is who I am. Daily, I have to keep affirming myself. Daily, I have to say, Molly, you can do this, you got this, and you can speak this forward, because I've been an introvert for so long and been in that space for so long. I have to really be cognizant of really putting myself out there more and more. So it has to be a conscious effort daily for me to do that. And um yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm continuing to do. It's a daily practice, and it's having those people around you that is going to support you and help you in your journey and see where you want to go. And now I'm seeing that that is so important, because you can't go at it alone. If you want to go far, or if you have a plan
Yes,
in mind,
yeah,
you have to go with others. And for so long I was doing it alone, and so now it's the conscious effort to go with others, to do it with others, and to really try to create that impact. My goal is, when I leave this earth, that I would leave a legacy, I would leave an impact on all these lives, that they will
yes.
carry on what I was doing. And so my legacy would live on through these people that I'm affecting. So that's really why I'm doing We Network Services, why I'm such a supporter of young people and of women. And I just want to affect change.
What is your succession plan then for if you ever decide to come out of, or step down from We Networks? Do you have other people that you're planning to take over from you or training?
Well, currently now what I have are strategic partners. So I have these other women who are strategic partners with me in what I'm doing and in my vision. And so if I do it, my family knows what I'm doing as well. If I do get an offspring, they would be they would be clued into what I'm doing. But I see We Network Services going further than just a coaching or networking company. I see other long term goals down the road, and so hopefully with collaborations and strategic partnerships in my network, I can get there.
Okay. Well, that's looking forward and making sure that you stick to your plan. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Molly, for being on the first podcast. I learned a lot, and I'm not going to forget to reach out to you to start encouraging you to sing, particularly here. Right.
Yes, yes, this
You,
was great.
you should sign us off, though, with a song.
Oh my god.
Oh, let's see. Let's see. Pick something. Let's pick something. I'll even probably help you sing. Um, Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace.
uh,
You know that out your head. Come on, you know that by heart.
that's a high note.
Okay. All right. What's a
let's
low note?
let's let's
What a
see if
friend
I
we
can.
have in Jesus. What a friend we have in Jesus.
Oh, that is such an old school song. Oh my god.
Who says it's okay? Give me a new school song. Let's do a new school song. I'm
Let's see if I can think about one.
Let me find one. I'm going to find one, a new school song right now. How about Every Praise? Every praise is to our God.
Every praise. I know it, but I probably only know like two sentences.
Susan,
Let me see.
I'm finding it.
Every praise is to
To
our
our God
God. Every word of worship in
with
one
one accord.
accord. Every praise, every praise is to
It's to
our
our
God.
God. Yes, 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 yes. Nice. See, that wasn't so hard. That's our favorite opening song that we open with at church every week.
Ah,
So
put,
thank you.
put me on the spot there.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this, Molly, and I hope we can do this again.
Thank you. Thank you.
I look
Most
forward
definitely.
to being on your panel.
I look forward to it. Thank
All
you so
right.
much for having me today.
Everybody, this has been Molly Creese. Molly is from the We Network. Thank you. This is Dr. Sandi. Thank you so much for sharing your journey on the first, where no two stories are alike, even if the circumstances are similar. Let this discussion serve as inspiration for others to show what's possible, and more importantly, to produce seconds and thirds.